YouTube. Thanks for joining us on another episode of What You Talking About? I'm your host, Supercurt. This is my main man, JMAC right here.
What's going on, everybody?
And this is my man, Jkidd right here.
What's good, everybody?
Today we want to open the show by saying sorry. We haven't been on here in a little while. Things have been hectic in our personal lives. But we're going to open this show up by JMAC's question. He had a question from a subscriber.
Joe Rivera came and asked the question, you're the coach of OKC, what advice do you give your team about the finals, and what do you tell Westbrook? Me personally, I would go straight up and tell him, you got to play like you did against the Spurs. You want 4 straight based off your defensive intensity. Caused a lot of turnovers, and it all starts with Westbrook. Westbrook's got to be aggressive, but he can't be overly aggressive. Got to involve his teammates, use the aggression towards the benefit of everybody. If he collapses the defense, kick it out to that open three-point man. They'll knock it down eventually. They're a little bit cold so far, but they're going to knock it down. And furthermore, Durant needs to rebound. In the 3 losses, he had 3 rebounds, 6 rebounds, and 2 rebounds. Going back to the previous series, he had game 1, he had 8 rebounds, and going back to the Spurs, a closeout game, had 14 rebounds. When he rebounds, he's able to control the tempo, able to push that fast break a lot more than what Westbrook can, because he's a lot smarter with the ball. He won't cause a turnover. He'll make the proper decision. Definitely won't draw the charge as much as Westbrook typically does.
Okay. That was a great question. I think that was a great answer. Now we'll open it up with the NBA Finals. You want to start on that?
Yeah, going into Game 5 tonight, Miami's up with a very convincing lead, 3-1. No team has ever come back in the finals from a 3-1 deficit. But I do believe, going into tonight, as long as the Thunder can maintain and pull out a win, going back to Oklahoma City, they can pull off this victory and push it to a Game 7 potentially. What do you think, Jay?
I agree with you. It's going to be real tough, though, for them to pull it off against Miami. LeBron James and Dwayne are playing phenomenal right now. It's going to take a lot for them to stop them. Westbrook's got to slow down the ball a little bit, stop rushing his every possession, because he's taking too much time. He's taking too little time off the clock. He's rushing every shot, driving into the hole.
I agree with that.
Right now we have a caller coming in from Washington. We have RickyG on the line. Say what's up, Ricky.
Hey, what's going on, Austin, Texas?
What's the deal? What's your opinion on this Game 5 coming up? What do you think?
I think it's a crucial game, like everybody's been saying. I like Oklahoma, biasly. I'm a big fan of Kevin Durant, so I think that Oklahoma could actually pull it out unbiasedly, though, just as a spectator of the sport. They have the tools to do it. Russell Westbrook had a great game last game, and I don't think it's going to transfer over to this time. I think he's actually going to have a poor shooting night tonight. It's usually kind of typical of what he does. And Kevin Durant's going to pick up a lot of the slack. I think James Harden and Ibaka are key tonight. I think they have to have big nights tonight. Ibaka really has to play defensively down low, stop LeBron James, just kind of take care of business down there. He shot 12 for 12 against San Antonio. Why can't he shoot at least 7 for 7? I'm not asking for a perfect night. Just have a good percentage from the field, and I think that'll help Kevin Durant carry the load a little bit more.
You just got to take the smart shots. Yeah. You got to take smart shots.
I think they all need to step it up. All of them have been playing not the way they play. They're not playing Thunder basketball. They're not playing the way they've been playing all season long. Against the way they played against the Spurs. If they step it up the way they did against them, they can pull it off.
I don't think they have a chance of pulling it off, actually. I call the Heat in 7. I'm picking the Heat. They're going to close it out tonight. Like I said, LeBron was hungry. This is his third crack at it. And he's coming out. He's been playing big man basketball. He's been letting that his weight advantage dominate Kevin Durant down low. Kevin Durant has been passive when it's coming to get the basketball in crunch time. I think LeBron, he senses it. He has no pressure. I don't think there's any pressure on him at all right now.
I don't know.
I think when times get tough in this game, he's going to lean on Dwayne Wade. Dwayne Wade is going to have a monster game. He knows they can smell the finals. The finals right now is like it's in Miami.
Right.
You know what I mean? They're already partying right now. They got the shirts made, the hats made. LeBron, they probably got the champagne cracked already. They probably sip before the game.
See, now the thing about that is you just mentioned everything that builds all the pressure. That puts all the pressure on LeBron James. And we all know what happens to LeBron James. At least history shows that he doesn't play well under pressure. Going into this game, he knows it's a closeout game, not only a closeout game, but at home, where he really wants to win. He wants to win at home. He doesn't want to have to go back to Oklahoma City. He knows how much trouble they can be going back to that environment. So the pressure's all on Miami Heat. If anything, Oklahoma City's gonna come in relaxed, ready to just dominate because what do they got to lose? They got to play well, but they know they're not the ones under the pressure right now.
Also, LeBron's got to worry about that his leg cramping up. You know,
Yeah.
If his leg starts cramping up early, he might be done for the whole game, and
I don't
that's
know.
gonna
I
be
think
a big difference.
I think Bosch is going to show out tonight too. I think
Yeah.
Bosch. I think all these guys
Bosch
can
is gonna
smell
step
that
up most
championship.
definitely.
They had
Easily.
last year. I think they had last year. You know, losing, had a disappointing, finals, so to say,
Right.
versus
Yeah.
Dallas.
For sure.
And I think they can smell this. They don't want to let this go back to.
Oh, no, they
don't want to
definitely
let this go back to Oklahoma City because what might could happen. I think they're going to come out and this is going to be the best game of a finals in some odd years. I think they're going to actually play, and it's going to be like a game 7. I mean, it pretty much is a game 7.
For
It's a closeout
Oklahoma,
game.
for sure, it's no question.
I don't
it's a
think
game
it's going
7.
back to OKC. You have any other opinions on that, Rick?
I was just going to say that for the past 3 victories that the Heat have gotten, their bench has been, actually not their bench, but somebody or possibly 2 people at a time have been phenomenal for them. In crucial situations, they've been hitting their free throws. That Haslam, for instance, hit those 2 crucial free throws. Shane Battier hit some threes and crucial momentum shifts during those games that were really close, and they only lost by about 3 or 5, something like that.
Yeah.
And in Chalmers the other night, he had 25 points. Come on now, that's the only time he's ever going to do that this series.
He won't ever get that kind of scoring again. Not only 25 points, he scored 12 of those 25 points in the fourth quarter and 5 of them in the last minute of the game. He's not going to be able to come through like that again.
But what I'm saying is that their bench is not going to be able to maintain that this game. They haven't done it the entire playoffs, to do 4 games in a row and win and sweep somebody like that, based off of the way that their bench has been performing. That hasn't been seen by them. It's been Wade and LeBron carrying the load because Bosch had been hurt at the time. Now that Bosch is there, I do think that the Heat could close it out tonight. More than likely will because it is a home game and all that type of stuff. But I am saying that the Oklahoma does match up well. And if they have a good night and it can let LeBron and Wade do what they do, but shut down Bosch and the rest of the bench that have been stepping up, I think that they could possibly pull out a victory. So, I mean, it could go either way. Tonight's a really crucial game, and both teams actually have it in their hand if they want it. So.
Yeah, the 3 games, they've only lost a combined 16 points through the 3 games. That's easy to overcome. If anything, I can make a case that Oklahoma should be up 3-1, if not already finished off the series. Because they actually, I'm not taking anything away from Miami, but I think Oklahoma City has caused a lot of problems for themselves that cost them the game in a lot of situations. So this game could be the series could be the other way around altogether, which gives, I think, a big boost of confidence to the Oklahoma City Thunder. Being that they know that they're in the games, they know that they just need to figure out how to finish it off and close it out.
Right. I can see that. They did have 15-point leads in most of the games, so I think all the games actually.
I know definitely last game they had they jumped up to a 17-point lead.
A lot of
So it's definitely possible. I just don't see it happening. Did you want
As long as they keep the turnovers at the end and make all those key mistakes stop happening, then they can probably pull this game off. But with those key mistakes, they're not going to pull it off tonight. They're going to.
Now, under these circumstances, with the finals going to a 2-3-2 format compared to a 2-2-1-1-1 that normally happens in the regular part of the playoffs, I think actually gives a disadvantage to Oklahoma tonight. It doesn't feel like they have home court advantage anymore. What do you think about that, Rick?
I agree with that. I mean, tonight is a game 7. If you win, you go home. If you lose, you go home.
Yep.
So, I mean, tonight is a crucial game. You want to go home on a victory, obviously. So if they want it, like I said, it's theirs to take. So either way,
If it was a 2-2-1-1-1, they would be at home tonight.
Yeah,
So
I definitely like the old format. I don't like this format, but that's
what
kind
it
of the way
is.
what it is. What do you think?
I definitely like the old format. I think it gives the advantage to the away team in the middle of the series,
Right.
which could possibly flip the momentum just the way it did in this series.
Right.
Yeah.
Having said that, Oklahoma did put themselves in this situation. They should have been winning these games, but
Oh yeah, most definitely. And they
uh,
should have won at home also.
yeah, for
they
sure. They
had
should have
that
been up
game
2-0.
in the
They
wrap.
should have been up 2-0 right off the bat. So, but regardless, things happen in basketball. The game comes down to a couple plays a game, a couple of mistakes, couple turnovers, couple fouls, whatever the situation may be. And in this case, it has happened in this series, and it caused a disadvantage with Oklahoma City against Miami in this finals. So, but if the Thunder were to win tonight, what do you think could happen? Do you think they could push a game 7?
I definitely think it's going to Game 7. There's no doubt in my mind. They're going to win that first game at home. And we'll see what happens that second game with both teams going at it for Game 7. That's going to be a really good series.
I don't think.
You're on the record saying they're going to lose tonight, so.
Yeah, that's why I don't think they can win. I think it's over tonight, honestly. I mean, I think LeBron's going to come out and he's finally going to get his ring. He's going to be that close, and he's not going to let anything stop him from that. He's going to play physical. He's going to outboard. He's going to keep Kevin Durant from coming through the paint. You know, he's going to jam the cutter. He's going to be out there in the passing lanes. He's going to be ready.
I think that's a good point, but he cannot overdo it, because if he starts overdoing it, he can get in foul trouble and be out the game. He can hurt himself again, cramp up. I mean, there's so many things. He's got to just play his game the way he's been playing, because he's been playing phenomenal.
Yeah,
what do you think about that, Rick? What do you think if they were to win tonight? What do you think could happen to the series?
I think if they win tonight, it's Oklahoma series to win. They're going to take it back home and close it out there. That's too easy. I honestly think that they're going to allow, that's what I think is going to happen. I think they're going to allow LeBron to have his phenomenal night tonight, because he does want to close so badly. But if they can keep everybody else stifled, then it's like I said, it's their game. It's their game to win. It really is. And I'm not saying that that's the perfect game plan, but it's shown in the past that if he does do that and they allow him to just do what he does, they beat him before. Like Game 1, for instance, they did that same thing. They let LeBron go hard, and then everybody else didn't do nothing.
Right.
So.
Do you think Harden's going to show up? Or do you think he's going to be missing this game? He had vacation the last.
I've been saying it all series. I've been saying it that James Harden is inconsistent when he comes to scoring. He averaged 16 in the regular season, but that's the regular season. This is clutch time. This is where you really need to do it and really be consistent. And he hasn't showed that this playoffs. Yeah. He's had a couple huge games. He's never really tied anything back to back, except for his off the ball stuff.
And the one game,
rebounds, giving an assist, some steals, a block. That's what he does, and that's what he shows up for. So when he has big nights with those numbers, the rest of his game opens up and allows him to score. In my opinion, of course. That's not factual or anything. That's just my own opinion.
The one game that he actually did play well, they ended up losing. So he scored 21 in Game 2, and they lost that game. So he still needs to show up for sure. He's been a little hesitant. The last game, there was a couple plays he came off screens and wide open. I remember one in particular in the fourth quarter, just right off the elbow, and he hesitated like twice and waited for somebody to come out and defend him, and then he shot it.
You see the turnovers?
Typically, he would be right there. Yeah, he would turn around that screen and hit that shot, no hesitation. But he needs to wake up.
He needs to play like the sixth man of the year.
Yeah,
that's what he needs to play like.
No question.
Agreed.
Okay, another topic this weekend. The WBO is WBO, correct?
Yeah.
They reviewed the Pacquiao Bradley fight. We're only going to touch on that for a second. Do you want to start on how they had the round scored?
They actually had Rick's the one that kind of broke it down to me earlier. But according to Rick, there was 5 judges, and all of them scored it for Pacquiao. One of them convincingly 118 to 110. You said, Rick, is that right?
Yeah, 118, 110. 2 judges scored 117, 111. The other one scored 116, 112, and 115, 113.
So all of them in favor for Pacquiao, but they decided not to overturn the decision. So Timothy Bradley will remain with the WBO champ and still hold on to Pacquiao's belts, and that is a official loss. Another one for Pacquiao, and Timothy Bradley remains undefeated.
I think this all falls into Bob Arum's plan. I think he had this set up from the beginning. Honestly, I think he did. I don't think either fighter knew what was going on.
Right.
But I think he had it this way because he knew Timothy Bradley was undefeated. He knew Pacquiao had already lost, so what would be another loss if it was a controversial one? What would be another one on his record? They would rematch. He can keep all the money. They don't have to worry about the Floyd fight because Floyd would probably, bargain himself out of the fight. You know what I mean? So I think this is Bob Arum's plan. What do you think, Rick?
I agree 100%. It's part of Arum's plan. I always thought he was kind of like a sleazy guy, but it was just too controversial. He had such an uproar. Timothy Bradley didn't say anything about the uproar, and that's his promoter. You see what I'm saying? So it just kind of didn't vibe with me, or at least nothing leaked that he was upset about him saying Pacquiao won or whatever,
Right.
And so, but I will touch on what he said about the WBO and possibly a rematch. They said that if either fighter doesn't agree to the rematch, WBO will enforce a rematch. So
it
either
needs
way,
to
it's
happen.
gonna happen.
Man, I didn't hear that.
It needs to happen based off how this all went. What is that now? That five judges have scored it for Pacquiao, or 6 judges. That's 6 judges, including the 5 that watched the replay and scored it, and then the one live. He had one scorecard for him there too. So that's a total of 6 judges that have given Pacquiao the nod. So a rematch, there's no question, needs to happen now. I will be the first in line to watch it.
I really want to see Floyd versus Pacquiao. That's the only fight I want to see, honestly.
Oh yeah,
I mean, it's not the only fight I want to see.
But before that can happen, I think this fight needs to happen before that one can. So because I don't think Mayweather is going to come out ready to fight Pacquiao unless he's ready to do like a 70-30 split, 80-20 split, and that's just not going to happen. So this fight needs to happen to get Pacquiao back in the highlights, the upper echelon of the boxer, so Mayweather give him a better chance as far as a potential 50-50 split.
All right, fantasy sports is coming back up. We all love to play fantasy sports.
Yes.
I got to the Super Bowl in fantasy football. You know how I do. I got to the championship in fantasy basketball. I did lose. I lost to aka RJ55.
I won my league.
I came in 3rd and won it. I won my other one. So
I don't mean to brag, but I did win my league.
All right.
I didn't make no kind of noise. I didn't make no kind of noise, man.
Alrighty. Well, Rick, do you have anything else you want to touch on or add to the show?
Yeah, I mean, we had a couple open-ended stuff that we left last show, and it was about Tiger, and he finished at +7 overall.
Right.
And shout out to Webb Simpson, he finished +1. He was actually the winner of that tournament. I mean, what did we talk about earlier, Jason? Dale Earnhardt Jr. I don't really watch much NASCAR, but he finally got his first win according to ESPN.
I know, wow.
Like 3.5-4 years.
Yeah, it's been a while.
Yeah. Not a NASCAR guy either, but shout out to Dale Earnhardt Jr. Living up to his name. Finally coming through. But with Tiger Woods, he kind of I was rooting for him. I was pulling for him this time around.
He started off real strong.
Yes, he did. But everybody finished over par. So obviously the course played difficult, and he just didn't show up in the weekend, Saturday and Sunday.
I was impressed with Hosler. Was it Hosler?
Yeah, the 17-year-old signed to Texas. Yeah,
I was impressed with him.
Did really well. I can't remember where he finished off at, but he was in the mix the whole time. So
definitely, yeah.
You want to touch on anything else?
I wanted to also tell y'all, I actually ask y'all's opinion. What do y'all think about BCS trying to change over to a playoff system?
Oh man, glad you asked.
It's about time.
Glad you asked.
It's about time.
I'm ready for that. I loved the BCS because it made every game in
very
college
important,
football
very
count. And I mean, you had to have a good season. It mattered who you played. I mean, who you played. But I mean, I love a playoff. They said it could be 4 teams and maybe expand to 8 teams. If it was 4 teams, they said it could be 2 SEC teams. It doesn't matter what conference.
Whatever
no
conference. The 4 best teams, they could be 4 SEC teams, 4 Big 12 teams.
I can see it playing out Oklahoma, Texas versus the LSU, Alabama for 4 years straight.
It's all about them horns.
I don't know
It's all about the horns. So
what do you think about that? What do you
that.
think, Rick? What do you think about that?
I think it's great. I mean, y'all know that since we've known each other. I mean, that's all we've really talked about is changing the system because it kind of screwed a lot of teams in the past.
They screwed Texas a couple years ago.
Yeah, so how can you beat Oklahoma 45-35, and then we lost.
Lose on a fluke play to Texas Tech.
Texas Tech.
Blake Gideon dropped the ball.
You can't drop that.
But they beat the team that ended up sending them to the championship. So the BCS is definitely flawed, and a playoff is the only way to remedy that. So it needs to happen. I'm looking forward to it if it does happen. So
it'll take the top 2 teams in the college football to the championship.
All the other major sports have a playoff, so this is the only one that doesn't. It doesn't make any sense.
It's about time.
So it needs to happen.
Yeah. Okay. I also had another question about what y'all thought about the Wizards trade to get Okafor and Ariza for Lewis in the draft pick this year.
It's definitely an upgrade.
That's an upgrade. I like that. I think. I like where basketball moves.
Nene, John Wall, Jordan,
and Trevor Ariza,
Jordan Crawford.
They could be an up-and-comer in the East. I'm not saying they're going to compete for a
title. I don't know.
They're going to be there.
Steve Nash was also talking about that he might want to go to New York. Do y'all think he might bring somebody to New York?
Amari plays there.
Yeah.
They're familiar. They're familiar. But that trade that Rick's talking about, it's definitely an upgrade. It's going to make the Wizards a way better team than what they were. Like I said, not going to compete for a title by any means. But they're going to be at least a team to think about, to talk about. They're going to be a topic of conversation again. So
yeah, it's gonna be a fight when you go to Washington to try to play them.
Yep.
All right, guys. Well, we're gonna end this show by saying thanks for subscribing, thanks for watching these videos, and thanks for watching another episode of What you talking about?
Appreciate the support, y'all. Take it easy.
Thanks, guys. Y'all have a good one.
No, I'm talking, Matt.